So we've created two different exposures from a raw file, one to show foreground detail in the buildings and one to show cloud detail. Then we've mixed them together using the eraser tool to create a combination of correctly exposed sky and foreground. So this hue saturation layer is just to give us an idea of what the image is going to look like in black and white. We can bin that now by dragging it to the trash can icon, and we can then merge the two shots together by going merge down. Okay, here's our optimized image. Now we're ready to convert it to black and white properly using the new Enhance Convert to Black and White tool. We've covered this earlier on in this series of movies, so I won't going to go into huge detail on here, but you can now see that the black and white version is going to show us detail in the sky using the default scenic landscape section. But if we go to infrared, we get a little bit more detail here in the building, and we still see the sky. And I really want to bring out these midtones a little bit more. So what we can do is reduce the intensity of the adjustment by dragging that to the left, so that we have much more subtle incremental changes when we click on these. And then if we go for more contrast, it just clips the sky a little bit, but it gives us a little bit more contrast here between shadows and midtones. So you can experiment by trying more red, just to bring out the midtones a little bit more without losing too much of the sky. And you've got a more dramatic shot here with cloud detail and detail in the midtones as well. If you decide you're not happy with these adjustments, click reset and try adding more green or more blue just to see what you get. But that's a very quick look at Convert to Black and White. We covered this earlier, as I said, in much more detail, so feel free to watch the earlier movies, and you should end up with a shot that looks like a decent monochrome print with a nice tonal range between the darker shadows and then these midtones here, as well as having detail in the sky. And as a finishing touch, you can then tweak the image using an adjustment layer and levels. So let's hit tab to bring up our layer here, and let's go to adjustment layers, levels, and you can get an idea of what the histogram's doing. You've got some clipped shadows, not too many, and some clipped highlights as well, so very black and very white pixels, but on the whole we've got a nice range throughout the shadows, midtones and highlights. But if you want to give the midtones a little bit more oomph, then just drag this to the left and it brightens them up a little bit more, or you can darken them down by going the other way. Think of it as a seesaw, it's tipping the balance between the lighter and the darker midtones. So I'm just bringing up the midtones a little bit more. It's not affecting our shadows because we're not dragging this slider at all. So we've still got nice black shadows, but we've brightened up the majority of the shot, which is mostly midtones due to the flat lighting, and we've got a much better looking picture now. Okay, so there's the adjustment layer. I can turn that off, turn it on. I think it's a bit too strong actually. I've brightened up the midtones too much, but as it's an adjustment layer, I can use it to adjust by just dragging the slider down here to about 59%, and that's a compromise. Don't want to lose too much cloud detail there, so let's take it down a wee bit more. And that's quite a subtle final edit. Okay, so here's our final striking monochrome